Rivers. We are multicasting on several platforms, so you might see us on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. We are multicasting on several platforms, so we want to thank you for joining us. I have my list of subscribers is growing, so thanks so much for your support. And if you are new to the conversation, be sure to like and share and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. So now, before, it's about 3 weeks before Valentine's Day, and most people get they make all these big plans for Valentine's Day. People in romantic relationships, they collectively spend millions, tens of millions of dollars to celebrate Valentine's Day. They buy candy, they buy flowers, they put chocolate on fruit, they buy lingerie, diamonds, and other jewelry. They take trips, you name it, and they buy it. In fact, you might be one of those people who goes all out for Valentine's Day. But are you creating intimacy before Valentine's Day? Now, I know doing all of those things, spending all that money, it might sound good, especially if your love language is receiving gifts, because that's one of the love languages, and we'll go over them in case you forgot or you don't know what the heck that is. But now, how much time do you spend creating intimate moments every other day of the year? Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. And how important is it to create intimacy in a relationship? So, our guest today is Tamara Robinson, and she is an intimacy coach. She's here to share her expert opinion on why it's important to create intimacy and some of the ways that you can do that. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm happy to
Now,
be here.
now I called you an expert. I don't know if you call yourself an expert, but when people call themselves experts or they're in that realm of giving advice, people want to know, well, what makes you so knowledgeable about all this? So just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be known as an intimacy coach.
Okay, well, I would say I started. The idea to become an intimacy coach came from my own journey of love and relationships and intimacy. And I was married for about 10 years and then divorced. And then I divorced around the age of 35, and I'm a single mother, so I was raising my daughter. And I found myself at the age of 40 just not really understanding myself as a woman, as a mother, as just a woman in relationships, and just a woman just in general. And I just had to go through the process of understanding myself again, and um, understanding what I enjoyed as far as pleasure and intimacy and dating and relationships. And as a result of that, I decided to, I found a coach and I found some help, but it didn't really give me everything that I needed. So I kind of was on the journey by myself. And then while I was going through my healing process and journey process, I came across a course on love and relationships, and also becoming a coach in the area of love and relationships. So during the process of like healing myself, I was also gaining some insight on how to help other people. So it's basically my decision to become an intimacy and pleasure coach is allowing me to be what I needed at that time. I basically want to be the coach, the intimacy coach that I needed, that I couldn't find. I want to be that for other people.
So, and you found that that is something that not just you need, but some other people need coaching. In fact, full disclosure, I came to you and got some lessons on building intimacy in my relationship. And so I want to thank you for your help
You're
with that.
welcome.
And you know what, I learned a lot about myself and things that I could do to create that atmosphere that I want in a budding relationship.
Mhm.
So now, is it hard though? I mean, like, I guess I'll go back to that question. Do people need help with that, or should love and building intimacy be something that comes natural? If if you're with the right person, let's say that.
Well, yes and no. It shouldn't be work, if that's your question. Like, it should. I don't think it should be work. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, relationships take work." I don't. I like to take the word work out of it, because if both people are involved in the success of the relationship, then it shouldn't feel like work. It shouldn't feel like a chore. To me, work sounds like a chore. That's why I don't like using that word when it comes to relationships. And even if you feel like you have the best relationship ever and you're with the right person, you might need some ideas or some tips on how to spice things up in your relationship, or some new ideas when it comes to intimacy. Because sometimes, especially if you've been together for a certain period of time, you know, things may get a little stale. You might need to increase the spark in your relationship. And then also, like me, being someone who was divorced, maybe things that worked in your previous relationship won't work in your current relationship. Or as you get older, especially with women, as we get older, our bodies change, and men too, their bodies change as well. But women, we go through a lot of different things, whether it's menopause and after having children and just being confident in our bodies. There's so many things that happen over the course of your life that can affect your relationship. So it's not just being with the right person; it's feeling like you're the right person and feeling good in your own body. And that's why a lot of the coaching that I don't know if you want to mention this, but a lot of the coaching that I do, I start with the person, the individual. Instead of starting with your relationship, I start with the individual and how you feel about yourself.
So really, it right, because the way we grow up with a lot of issues, not necessarily issues is the wrong word, but a lot of training or nurturing about what love is or what love should look like. And
Hmm.
that's why we might want to start with ourselves, because a lot of times we're looking for that love or that intimacy to come from someone else. And really, we might need to start with how we are viewing love and intimacy. Is that
Yes, that's
all
true,
right?
because we all grow up with different programming. We all grow up with different examples. We all grow up in different households. Whether your parents are married, your parents have always been married, never were married. Maybe they were divorced. Maybe one is deceased, or you grow up with different types of examples in your life that can affect how you then operate as an adult when it comes to intimacy. And then, certain generations, certain demographics of people don't even talk about sex and intimacy. I got the sex talk. I don't know. My that's funny. The sex talk. I mean, I remember there was a book in the house about how babies are made. And so I won't say that the talk really took place. So it depends on the dynamic of the parents in when as you're growing up as a child. But what I can say is that the reason why intimacy and pleasure coaching can be beneficial to singles and couples is because we all grow up with different programming. We all come into adulthood thinking and feeling different ways when it comes to intimacy and relationships.
And so, if there's anyone who is looking or listening, and you want to tell us, give us your personal viewpoint on love and relationships, or maybe you feel like you are creating intimacy in your relationship, and you want to tell us how, share what works for you. Be sure to do that. I am looking at the chat. But so before we get into some of the ways that people create intimacy, or what that could look like, What is your opinion on these shows, like Love at First Sight, that show, 90 Day Fiance? I watch Ready to Love on the OWN network.
Mhm.
And The Bachelor. I don't watch that one. That's one of the shows that, they make it seem so easy. And I noticed that those most of those shows, you know, kind of focus on the physical. Maybe they do some behind the scenes, let's get to know each other, what your character is, but most of it looks like it's work is based on the physical. What's your as an intimacy coach, what is your take on all those types of shows that make love seem like it's so easy?
Right. Well, it's funny. Out of all the shows you listed, I mean, I've heard of all of them, but the only one that I've actually watched is The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. So I've not actually watched the other ones that you mentioned, but I've heard of them. And um, I would say first we have to look at the track record of the people who are involved in these shows. Like, do they stay together? Is it just for the show? I feel like there have been a few couples from The Bachelor and Bachelorette that got married, and I believe there's a few that are still together. So, but with the other shows, I'm not sure about the track record, but I would say that even like with 90 Day Fiance, whether you or Love at First Sight, I think that's what the other one is. Even if you only know a person for a few days and you have to marry them because of the TV show, I think there's still something you still have to take time to get to know that person in order for the relationship to work. Um, I feel like even if the show is listed as a reality show and it's supposed to be real, um, I feel like there's still some scripted parts of the show. So that's why I say we have to kind of see what the track record is of those couples, because we don't know if they're still like, do they keep up with those couples after the show? Do we know if they stay together? Um, because it could be, that we could get the impression that things are perfect and happy and everything, but we don't know what happens once the cameras turn off. So
True,
I think
true,
it's
true.
nice to watch, and but I really do feel like even if whether you've known a person 30 days or 3 years before you marry them, you still have to know who you're marrying. You still have to know who that person is.
And so, a part of knowing who that person is knowing their love language. Is that something that you think is important?
Very important. I think that's so important. I know for myself, I read that book a while ago. Like I read that book a while ago, and that really changed how I saw myself and how I saw partners and different people that I dated over the years. So, but yeah, I think learning someone's love language is very important because, well, I think understanding the five love languages is important, first of all, because number one, you can understand your own love language, and then you can, if you're in a relationship with someone, you can then know their love language, because the person's love language is how they receive love. It's definitely how they receive love, and usually it's also how they give love. So if you're in a relationship and you have different love languages, it's possible that you're speaking different languages to each other. Like each person is showing love in a way, and you're kind of like missing each other because you may
Hmm.
not be speaking the same language. And I really do feel that the analogy that I like to use is that the five love languages is like a language. Like if you're communicating with someone who doesn't even speak the same language as you, or you're not fluent in that language, you're always going to miss each other. You'll never really truly understand what that person is saying. You may pick up a few words here and there, but you won't really understand what they're saying until you learn that language, until you can effectively communicate with them.
So, what are the five love languages? Do
Okay.
you?
So there's quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and receiving gifts are the
And
five.
gifts. Okay, those are the five.
Mhm.
And so it's important then to know what your significant other, what their love language is, because, like you said, it's like speaking a different tongue language. If you don't, if they're saying something to you about how what they want, or they're trying to give you love the way they want to receive it, but if you're not understanding what they are wanting, and or you don't receive love the same way, y'all are doing things or speaking things, and you're not connecting, so they don't feel loved and you don't feel loved, and then therefore you're like, well, what's going on, we can't get it together, which is what I think happened in my first marriage, my only marriage. Is I remember my now ex-husband saying to me, but I laid the concrete for you so you could, something about the driveway or something. He was talking about how he had done that as because he loved me, he would do things. And I'm like, I didn't tell you to lay concrete. I didn't tell you this. What are you talking about?
Right.
And yeah, and so years later, a decade after divorce, it's coming together like, oh, he thought that I was an active service person because he must have been an
Hmm.
active service person. And I'm like, no, that's not, So anyway, it's important because we end up spending time with people who were speaking two different languages, and you wonder, why is it this not working when he's a good person, she's
Right.
a good person. We're like, why can't we get it together and be good people together? And it just doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. That's important. And I would say unless your partner, you and your partner have the same love language, that is going to be something that comes up. Of course, there's other things. Of course, there's other things that could affect the relationship. But once you understand the five love languages, especially once you understand your own, like once I knew that my love language was, well, I have two: quality time and physical touch. And I just realized that when I listed them, the five, when I listed them, I listed mine first. But once I understood that my love languages are quality time and physical touch, then I understood, then I'm able to communicate that, and let my partner know, like, this is what I enjoy, or this is what, and I might not even have to say that because he just understands that just by just being with me. But if you understand your own first, I think that's important, because then you can understand, like with your example, you can understand why, that act that your ex-husband did, you can understand why that really didn't mean, I mean, it was a nice gesture. It was
It
it was
was. It
nice of him
was.
to do that. And I would have felt the same way. I would have felt like, well, I didn't ask you. Thank you, but I didn't ask you. I'd rather we sit and watch TV, or have a nice dinner or something like that. Um, so yeah, and it's possible. Now let me ask you this: when that happened, had you read the book yet? Did you know anything about the five love languages? No.
I must not have, because I think it would have clicked to me immediately had I read it at that time. And I
Hmm.
remember, agonizing over, and I remember saying to myself and maybe to my mother, he just doesn't, he doesn't know how to love me. I remember saying that. And now it's sad. I'm saddened to think that I was kind of like on the verge of breaking through all of this, but we ended a marriage because of, I think, that type of thing. You just were not connecting the dots on that critical information, you
Hmm.
know? And so I that's one of the reasons I think it's important for people to slow down and not be so in a rush to jump into things without understanding who you're with and what their needs are and what your needs are, because it's very important. As a matter of fact, I want for our viewers to know that you have, at the end of this, or during this, we're going to have an opportunity to give someone a session with you, So tell us what they need to do, or do you want us to wait until the end to tell them? But we have a gift. We
We have
have
a gift.
a love gift that we want to share with you. So we're going to tell you at the end, but I don't want to forget because I'm one of those people.
Okay.
I'll forget. So keep watching, and it won't, even if you catch this in the replay, you can still do it and take advantage of it. So, but
Definitely.
anything, while we're at that point, give us your, if people want to reach out to you with their individual questions, they might not want to do it right now. How can we reach you? What are your social platform? How can they reach you?
Okay, so right now on Instagram, I'm at Passion Pleasure Coach on Instagram, and on TikTok, it's the same thing at Passion Pleasure Coach. I'm also on Facebook. That one is a little different. It's Passion Coach Tamra, but it's still the same Passion Coach type thing. But the two main ones are Instagram and TikTok, and those are at Passion Pleasure Coach.
Okay, I'm
And
going
you
to put
can
that
send me a
down.
DM, you can leave a mess, you can leave a comment on any of my posts, or send me a DM, and we can talk, and we can maybe schedule a session if that's something that you're interested in.
Yes, yes, most definitely. And again, I took some of her sessions, and I really was pleased with the results, and just to realize that I was on the right track. It's, and that's the thing, is I think some of us, we are on the we're on the right highway. We're just in a different lane. You just need some guidance to make sure you're doing it the right way. So on whatever platform you're watching, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Tamara, as well as myself, Steffanie. And I'm on, of course, Instagram and Twitter and Threads and Facebook as well. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe, so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. So give us some tips on some preliminary tips on how people can create intimacy in their relationship, and not wait until the day of, one day a year, Valentine's Day. Oh, let me take her out. Let me buy her gifts. Let me get her some flowers. Let me grab some stuff. And,
Right.
unless your love language is gifts, you might be like, okay, dude, you've been like not, or woman, you've not been treating me, building this intimacy over the course of certain days or years or weeks. Why do you always do this? Show up on Valentine's Day trying to impress me. So, what are some of the things they can do along the way, even if it's not even close to Valentine's Day?
Well, I would say that, okay, so I understand that people like to celebrate Valentine's Day. I'm not a big celebrator of Valentine's Day because I like to make every day Valentine's Day. So celebrating the one day is not, you know, it's not my thing. If we have to do something, I have no problem with ordering food from from a restaurant and bringing it home and eating it at home together. Like that's something that because my love language is quality time and physical touch. So I don't necessarily have to go out. But it's tricky because I know that Valentine's Day is such a popular holiday and it's an important holiday for some people. But why can't we make everyday Valentine's Day, or why can't we do things that every day, do something every day for your partner, or at least a couple times a day, and include like leaving a love note for your partner, whether like if let's say that your partner maybe they take their lunch to work, or they buy their key, like put a little post-it note next to their keys, or in her purse, or in his briefcase, put a little love note that says I love you, or something like that, or send them a text in the middle of the day letting them know that you can't wait to see them. You can't wait to see them when they get off work, or when you see them again later in the day. there's so many things, if you don't mind rubbing your partner's feet, if they enjoy that kind of thing, or maybe take a chore that your partner is something that you're a chore that your partner always does, and if they're especially if their love language is acts of service, you can then take over doing that chore. And I'm not saying only do it on Valentine's Day. I'm saying, like, these are things that you can incorporate into your daily life, um, so that when and if you do decide to celebrate Valentine's Day, it's not like this grand gesture that has to take place just one day of the year. You honestly can make every day Valentine's Day. And I'm not saying that there has to be some form of intimacy or sexual relations that take place every day. You can do that, of course. I'm not saying you can't. But if there's some form of intimacy that you can incorporate into your day, I really think that would make things better in your relationship. That can add to the intimacy, so that you're not putting so much pressure on yourself or putting so much pressure on your partner to do this grand gesture on Valentine's Day. And then let's say you do start on Valentine's Day with this grand gesture, then continue with those things even after the fact.
So how about when it comes to cooking? You know how in most traditional relationships, the woman is she does the cooking, and the man, the husband, is waiting for her to finish. Why
Mhm.
not go in and help her, and y'all cook together, or
Exactly.
come up with some type of recipe? Or when you go out, what I like to do is, when I go to a restaurant, and if I like something, I try to duplicate it at home. So I'm
Mhm.
like, let me try to make that. Let me try to, so why don't we do this together, babe? Why don't we go in and see how we take, so that
Yeah.
way you're doing some you're experimenting together, you're playing and, doing all that, and fixing a meal.
You're
So,
fixing a meal together. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a great idea. You can fix a meal together. Um, you can you can plan the meal. You can plan everything from the meal to the wine, if you're having wine, to the dessert. And then after you're done, you can then feed each other. Like, that's a very intimate moment as well. You're just, give a little nibble here, a little nibble there, and then, later they'll be nibbling on you. So
Check it out, Miss
yeah, I mean, it's so easy. I mean, the thing is, I know that we have busy lives, but there's intimacy is easy, and it should be easy. It should really truly be easy. That's why I don't like to say that relationships take work, because once you break it down to the simplest tasks, to the simplest things, it shouldn't be work. I don't like to say that a relationship is work. It's easy as long as if you truly understand yourself and understand your partner and what they like and what they need and what they want, then it takes the work out of it. I have to find another word to use because I know you have to put something into it, but I just don't like using the word work. So I have to figure out another word instead of that.
Well, and it goes back to quality time, or spending time with anything that you want to build or to strengthen, or to, be have endurance. You want to put time in it, and so, it just takes time.
Mhm.
Takes time in it. Any craft, so that you want to develop, it just takes time. And a lot of people, I think, with these apps. So have you done used any of the dating apps? What do you think about apps? A lot of people are into those things these days.
Yeah, I have. I've met some very nice people on dating apps. I have used those. I think as the most important thing is you have to be yourself. As long as you are presenting your true self on your dating app, then you shouldn't have any problems. You shouldn't have any problems um meeting someone or showing your true self if that's who you are presenting online. And I would say, of course, be careful with in the past when I've used apps, I've been very careful with giving my number right away. Usually I try to have a conversation online a few times, and then once I feel comfortable, then I'll take it to a phone call, and then maybe we'll meet in person. But yeah, I think dating apps are a great way to at least start the conversation of meeting someone and finding out what it is that you like and what it is that you don't like. I think they're a great way to meet people, especially if you're busy, if you're too busy to go out and do, I don't know if people really go to bars anymore. It's like if you're not that kind of person that's really into going out, I think that dating apps are a great place to start.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. So now I'm going to show because you have a website in case anyone wants to be a part. Well, it's not going to look because I'm in um, phone mode, mobile mode, so that is not going to look the best. But at any rate, it's called Passion and Pleasure. Let me see if I can make it look better. In the meantime, we'll just talk about how people, okay, how people, I'm trying to bring us both back up. I guess I can take that out and then I can bring us both back up. Okay. Because I am the talent, I'm the photographer, I'm the producer, I'm doing a lot. But at any rate, your website, if people want to find it, it's at Reclaim Pleasure. Is that the name of it?
Yes.
Reclaimpleasure.net.
Uh, well, if they can get to it by typing in passionpleasurecoach.com, and then it'll
Okay.
take them to that page. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so passionpleasurecoach.com. That's
Right.
where you
And
can
it'll
go.
redirect them to the page that you had up.
Okay, okay. So because I'm in mobile mode, so we can be Instagram friendly. Now the website is they can't really see all of it, but at any rate, so what are some of the reasons? Like if I know a few people, a few couples who have been married for 20 years, let's say, and a lot of them, talk about being having a compromise, compromising and just being willing to not be bothered by the little things in a relationship. Just trying to, stay on the same page, especially if you have children. But like we said, you can't. Although you're there to be a support and love and nurture your children. You also want to nurture your one-on-one relationship with your spouse.
Mhm.
And so when it comes to that, what are some of the what's the feedback that you get when you talk to couples about what they do to keep um, uh, intimacy alive in their relationships?
Well, I would say that so like you're saying, like keeping the spark alive, keeping it exciting.
Yes.
Well, especially if you've been together for a long time, you can kind of get into the routine of you can get into the routine of work and kids and dinner and laundry, and you get into the routine of everything else, and sometimes the partner is like last on your list. And I would say, just like I like to stress putting ourselves first, you kind of have to also include that partner somewhere, at least put them on your list. I know sometimes it can be difficult to even put ourselves above our kids or above anything else, but if we really want our relationships to work, we have to put some type of effort into it. And you mentioned something about the little things and not paying attention to the little things. And sometimes it's the little things, it's the small details that we don't think about that really truly makes the difference. It can really sometimes the little things are the things that can make or break a relationship. It's not the big things that we don't see. And that's why going back to the five love languages, I think that those are sometimes the little things that we don't really think about, because especially if we have different love languages than our partner. But to bring back the spark, let me go back, stay on topic. To bring back the spark in your relationship, um start with what you both enjoy doing. Start with what you both enjoy, whether it could be cooking together, it could be watching a movie, it could be, once the kids are in bed, depending on the age of the kids, once they're in bed, and just talking, having a conversation, or planning to watch a movie. It's okay to plan intimacy. If you have small children and you need to make sure that they are asleep and they're whatever, even if you have teenagers, because as the kids get older, they kind of have a better understanding, kind of know what you're doing when it comes to intimacy. So people always talk about little kids, but it's the teenagers that are the ones that know
Right.
what's going on. So but it's okay to plan intimacy. Let's say you get your calendars out and you're like, okay, the kids have soccer, they have ballet, they have this, that, and the other on Mondays and Tuesdays, but on Wednesday, we can really spice it up. Mom and dad can spice it up on Wednesday nights. And it's okay to say, I'm going to have a little glass of wine, or I'm going to do this, or when you put the kids to bed, I'll be upstairs waiting for you in my lingerie, or I'll draw you a bath, or little things. It's the smallest things. And like I mentioned earlier, a massage, or I don't know, if you have a favorite television show, if whatever it is, or a favorite movie, it's the little things. I really do think it is the little things that make or break a relationship, that make a difference. And there was something else that I wanted to mention too earlier that I just remembered is we can't compare ourselves to other people. We can't compare ourselves to other relationships, especially what we see online or on social media, or even on TV, on TV, because we don't know what's behind that. Especially with couples that we may see posting about their relationship online. We don't know that's a moment in time that we're seeing, and we don't know what happens right before that moment or right after that moment. So that's why you kind of have to design your relationship to fit you and your partner, instead of trying to fit it into a box that someone else has created for themselves that works for them. Because we don't really know, even if they appear to be the perfect couple, we don't know what they had to do to become that perfect couple.
You know
And we
what? I
can't,
think
yeah,
that's
we
so
can't.
important
Mhm.
because in social media and with just looking at people, and I'll call this couple, it was like every time we saw Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, that was like the black people's
Right.
go to black love. Come to find out,
Uh-oh.
hey, woo, woo, you know
We
what I'm
didn't
saying?
know. We
So
didn't.
you just can't. We were the outside looking in on some
Right.
stuff. And so you can't, you like you just said, you can't look at other people and think, oh, I want to be like them, or idolize what you think they have, because so much is going on. We just have to just, trying to you just need to focus on what makes you and your partner happy. And
Hmm.
so, that's important. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And what we, what I want to, as we are closing up, if there's anything that you want to share that I didn't ask, or that you want us to talk about, let me know. But before we go, we want to share with you that if you are watching this and you want to get some quality time coaching from Miss Robinson. She's going to explain to you how to do that. And before she does, I want to say, if you are watching and you send me a message on either Facebook or Twitter or IG, I'm going to send you a gift. Um, along the lines of Valentine's Day gift. And it could be some chocolates, or it could be
Ooh.
a gift card of some sort for you to spend however you like. It could be some paraphernalia from my company. So it could be different things. A new calendar. I know it's still January, about to be February. Maybe you haven't gotten your 2024 calendar, and I'm willing to share one of my signature calendars with you. What are you willing to share if people contact you?
Well, I have an offer, a free gift. If you DM Stephanie's name, DM me on Instagram at Passion Pleasure Coach, and type in Steffanie, Steffanie, then you will get a link to schedule a free coaching session with me, and we can discuss. You can bring any questions or concerns that you have, and you'll have the ability to schedule a free session with me. So I'm excited to offer that to your listeners, to your viewers, whether they're here live or on the replay. Just DM me Steffanie, Steffanie, and you'll get a free session. You'll get a link to schedule a free session.
And that's awesome. Thanks for that. And I was gonna say something, girl. My thoughts are so fleeting. It is crazy. I was gonna say something, but forgot what it was. But yeah, Valentine's Day is maybe what, 20? I'm sorry, not even 20. 14.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks, between 14 and 21 days away. So don't wait until the day before, that day, and think you're gonna show up with some flowers and gifts and stuff, and it's all gonna go your way, because we seen it all before.
Exactly. Come up with
Go ahead
something
and do
new.
something different
How
and
about, how
better.
about celebrate on the 13th? Why wait till you don't have to wait till the 14th? Do something on the
Exactly.
12th. You know,
Exactly.
maybe how about make it, let me put this, I'll just throw this little tip out there. Start on the 1st and make it like a little scavenger hunt. Like, especially this will really work well if your partner's love language is gifts. Like, leave a little chocolate, on their, on the nightstand or on their pillow or in their purse. Like, make it a scavenger hunt where every day leading up to the 14th is something special. Now, the only thing is they might expect that after, but you can do it like once a week. Do something like that. But make it fun. You don't have it doesn't have to be this big thing on Valentine's Day.
I agree. I agree. And that's a lot of money that's being spent. So, if you really value that relationship, you will try to you show that love and commitment to it more than one day a year.
Hmm.
So, I appreciate you coming forward to talk to us about it. And I certainly have benefited from being coached by you. So thank you so much. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Your TikTok videos are amazing.
Oh,
So
thank you.
people can check you out on TikTok as well. And I'm on TikTok too. So check me out too.
Yes, yes.
And
I
so,
also wanted to mention one thing. I know we've been talking a lot about couples today, but I also coach single people who are either looking for love or just looking to love themselves. Because, my coaching starts with loving yourself anyway, but I do coach single people as well. And I can give you tips on how to celebrate Valentine's Day as a single person. So,
okay, wow.
yeah.
Because you know what, as an only child growing up,
An only
I
child
have,
too.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I remember you told me that, because during our
Yeah.
session you mentioned that. But a lot of times, things that come natural to us, like going to a restaurant alone or going to the movies alone, because we grew up without siblings. So we don't, it doesn't bother me to do that. A lot of people they struggle with doing things alone,
Hmm.
doing activities alone as a single person. And so I think it's important that you mention that as well. that, it's important to love yourself and to do things that make you happy. Don't wait for somebody to come into your life so you can be happy. Oh my God.
Exactly.
You
Because that
you
person
might
should be
die.
adding
You
to
know what
your
I'm saying?
happiness, not making you happy. So you got to be happy within yourself.
I've traveled alone to different countries. I go to the movies. Not lately to the movies because I'm so busy. But here, I'll end on this, which I don't know if I want to end on this, but anyway, I was married, right, for like, let's say 2 or 3 years. I was married for 10 years, but this was like year 2 or 3. Come to find out, so I went to the movie by myself to
Uh-huh.
see the Titanic, that movie.
Uh-huh.
Girl, my husband was at the same movie by himself.
You both needed some me time.
And so here's the thing. I didn't realize that he was at the movie. He told me afterwards that, yeah, I saw you in the movie. And he probably was trying to wait to see if somebody was going to show up with me. That's why he didn't say anything to me at the movie. I know he didn't say that, but I know that's what was going on. So he waited until I got home. And he was like, I saw you at the movie. I'm like, you were at the movie? And he was like, yeah, I was up in the balcony area and I saw you down. And so it just goes to show you that we were like passing each other, and it was crazy. It was crazy.
That's
But
funny.
anyway, he was a good and he probably still is a good guy. But at any rate, yeah, so that you don't have to, be doing that and years later think, if only I knew. Go ahead and call Tamara now and get your coaching sessions and go ahead and definitely learn what your love languages are.
Yes. That's a very important. Yep. And
So I
we can have a discussion on that too. During your free
exactly,
session. Mhm.
exactly. So, do you have any Valentine's Day plans though, or you don't plan to
I don't.
partake?
I mean, like I said, we will probably order food and go pick it up or have it delivered and eat. And I am not a big and he hates that too because he's like, well, what do you want to do? I don't have a. I'm not a. I don't sell. I mean, I'm not saying I don't celebrate it. It's not that big of a deal. So I don't. And also, I don't like the. There's so many people out. I don't want to deal with the crowds. So I have no problem with being at home and just watching a movie together and enjoying a meal.
True, true.
Because there's a lot of people out.
Yeah, yeah, big crowds and all of that. Yeah, it could be, something other. It could turn into something else. So
Yes.
at any rate, thanks again for being here and
Thank you for
sharing
having me.
your
This was
advice on
fun.
creating intimacy. And so we'll keep in touch.
Definitely.
All righty. We'll see you next time. Bye. So thank you as well for being here for our talk about creating intimacy before Valentine's Day. Don't wait until the day of. And just to find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at EUR. Hello and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Come on into the conversation. You are watching a multicast. I'm multicasting on several platforms. So you could be watching on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, on whatever platform you're watching. We want to welcome you to the conversation. Well, if got caught with her panties around her ankles was a person, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is that person. Willis, a few days ago, admitted that she is, or she was, sleeping with the lead prosecutor in charge of the Fulton County, Georgia's RICO case against Donald Trump and the 18 other co-defendants. That lead prosecutor's name, he is Nathan Wade. Now, Trump is using this information to claim the Fulton County DA's office colluded against him. So he's using that information to request all charges against him get dismissed as if there's not a whole audio tape recording of him pressing Georgia election officials to help him cheat his way back into the White House. So, should Willis and Wade step down? Should they move, get out the way of the prosecution? That's the question that's before us tonight. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you will be the first to know. And so that is the question. And I also have a question for you. Do you sleep with coworkers? And if you do, have you ever had any issues with that make you say you'll never do that again? Um, if you are unfamiliar with who Fani Willis and Nathan Wade are, let's take a close up of them. Let's see. There we go. That's Fani Willis on the left, the Fulton County District Attorney, and that is Nelson Wade. Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade. He is the special prosecutor in the Donald Trump case, the RICO case against Donald Trump and the 18 other co-defendants. So we're talking about their admission that they have an entanglement. Okay, that entanglement was revealed in court transcripts by Nathan Wade's wife, or at least she was his wife at the time, in their divorce court proceedings. They were getting a divorce, so I think they're divorced at this moment. But at the time, Mrs. Wade said that her husband, who she was separated from at the time, and Fani Willis have taken romantic trips together using the money that Willis paid to Wade to prosecute Trump and the 18 other co-defendants, or to help build the case. So I was asking you before, do you sleep with coworkers? And have you had any issues with that? Because it's always bound to it. If it goes well, it goes well. But if it ends, then it could end badly. And most things that start have an ending. So you always have to look at the end of the movie at the beginning of the movie to see if this turns out this certain way, what could be the repercussions, consequences, and repercussions of my actions. Do you sleep with coworkers? Okay. So Willis and Wade claimed that he already was separated from his wife when they started swapping bodily fluids, and that the wife is just trying to blow up his spot because she's feeling some kind of way about all of it. Okay. So Willis claims that her romantic relationship with Wade started in 2024, but she hired him as a special prosecutor a whole year before that in 2021. So it wasn't as if she chose him to be the special prosecutor because he was doing something special with her. Okay, so now Nathan Wade's qualifications and both of their integrity has come into question. That's why I say that Black people have to be twice as good as a white person to get a leadership position at work, okay? And they have to be twice as smart to keep that position, especially when they use their authority against white people who think that they are above the law. Because when it comes down to it, they're going to come back around and try to find all kind of stuff that they can find to say that you never should have been in that spot in to begin with. So Wade, as far as what I've been able to find out, Nathan Wade, of course, he graduated. He went to Texas Southern University, went to Marshall Law School. He has been or is a judge in nearby Marietta, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. He's a partner in a law firm in Cobb County, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. And before that, he was a prosecutor in the Fulton County office for 16 years. But some people claim that that ain't enough. They say that still doesn't qualify him to be special prosecutor of this RICO case. So they say he must have been getting his special prosecutor appointment because of his special relationship with Fani Willis. And that's why it's also important to avoid the appearance of impropriety, because impropriety, did I say that right? Y'all know what I'm talking about, though, even if I didn't say it right. Because what people are going to do is they're going to use that to say all kind of come up with all kind of questions as to why you should or shouldn't be in the position that you hold. So if you know anybody who's had a bad experience, they had a bad experience because they slept with somebody at work, let me hear about it. You can even email me about it, and then we can maybe go over this at a later date and have like a forum about it. This doesn't sound good, what's going on between them, and it doesn't look good, what's going on between them. And if that ain't enough, come to find out that Nathan Wade has been paid more than $600,000 over the course of a year's time so far for his work that he's put into the Trump RICO case. Now, that's going to make some people start to count his coins, okay? They're going to start counting his money and saying that, oh, he's getting paid too much. Or, oh, they cheating the system or something like that. I mean, people, he's a qualified attorney prosecuting a RICO case, okay, of a high caliber um, authority, a high caliber. What am I trying to say? It's going to be well followed. People across the country and the world are looking at this, and so $600,000. I mean, I don't know exactly what attorneys make, but I would say if it was anybody other than these two that in a high caliber type of a case that it is, probably nothing would be thought about what he's making. But they did come up with, when they started looking at the billable hours, they said that at some point in his payment, in his invoices, he billed for 24 hours straight, and he was paid for 24 hours straight. And so nobody works 24 hours straight for as much doing what he does. So, that might be an issue. How long how long that he worked and claimed that he was working. But at any rate, if you don't sleep with your coworkers, then this type of stuff won't have any bearing on you because you wouldn't have slept with your coworkers. And that's why I think, and I think the moral of this story is that is, and we know the adages, or what do they call them? The odiums, adage, odium, the lesson. Let's keep it simple. The lesson is that you don't lay where you work, that you don't eat where you sleep, that you keep your money and your honey separated, okay? Because when they intersect, if they intersect, you could lose one or you could lose the other, meaning you could lose your honey or you could lose your money or you might lose both, okay? And then you're ass out and now you're looking for a new job and a new honey, okay? So should Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, should they step down at this point? Both of them have said that they are refusing to step down, and they also have said that there was nothing unethical or illegal in what they did in this situation. And again, she said he didn't get the job. She didn't appoint him as special prosecutor because of they were sleeping together, because they started sleeping together after she appointed him. But, I just I would say the pressure is going to be on for her to step down or for him to be replaced at some point. And, now you're in a position. I'm hearing some type of noise. Sorry. I don't know what that was. Now you're in a position where you have to make a decision. And who wants to make that type of a decision? Um, because $600,000 in a year, that's not somewhere where you can just walk away and go get that money per se. I mean, you can start your YouTube channel and build your subscribers and talk about what happened. And then maybe you might make $600,000. You can like have a podcast and invite Cat Williams on and get 50 million views in a month's time and maybe make $600,000. But you could get drafted into professional sports and be an all-time athlete and maybe make $600,000. You see what I'm saying? But the likelihood that you can just go somewhere else and make $600,000 is not likely. So that's why you need to, if you're making that much money, you need to make sure that the appearance of impropriety is zero. Okay. And that you have to make sure that you are crossing your T's and dotting your I's and taking your notes. Because when somebody comes back and wants to know, why did you bill for this and all these hours, you want to be able to say why you bill for that and with all those hours. And so that's really all I got for you is that, you know, you just don't want to mix business with pleasure, especially at work, especially when you have so much at stake. Okay. So many eyeballs are on you, and you know that they're going to be scrutinizing everything and looking through all the paperwork. You just want to make sure that they are wasting their time by looking at the paperwork because you've done nothing wrong. You've all actually done everything right. And so let them look for that. Look, be able to tear the right apart and not be looking for the wrong. And so that's all I got for you tonight. To find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. And you can also follow me on Twitter and IG and threads at TCB Steph.